Ultimate X, one of the most innovative match types in wrestling history and probably the match type that put Total Nonstop Action Wrestling on the map. This stipulation has been used 53 times since its inception in 2003, with 40 of those matches revolving around TNA's X Division. The X Division Championship, another one of TNA's main staples and their first official created championship, has been defended 23 times in this stipulation and was even defended in the first installment of this match, where three young, talented, and hungry wrestlers put it all on the line for the most coveted prize in the company, and that is what we will be discussing in today's video. If you do enjoy this video and you want to see more videos about all the random and cool stuff that comes from pro wrestling, be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. With that being said, let's get right into it.
What we are four seasoned vets who just happen to be the best at what we do in the entire TNA galaxy.
Meet Frankie Kazarian, wrestler of 27 years, bass player for the band Vex Temper, blocked me on Twitter not too long ago, not really sure as to why. He has been one of the most consistent and reliable pro wrestlers of this century. Trained by the legendary Killer Kowalski in 1998, he has traveled all over the scene and has wrestled for nearly every major promotion in the world throughout his career. WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, and New Japan, as well as the promotion of today's video, TNA. Spending more of half of his career with the company, dating back to when the company was still a territory in the NWA and running weekly shows on pay-per-view. Kaz made his TNA debut on June 4th, 2003, and it was the beginning of a very successful career for him. He is a three-time tag champion, twice with Christopher Daniels as part of Bad Influence, and once with Eric Young, while also having 5 reigns as X Division champion, 6 if you count one of his runs as Suicide. Within months of debuting, Kaz began challenging for the X Division championship, then held by Chris Sabin, who we will talk about later, to no avail as Sabin would successfully defend against Kazarian on 3 separate occasions. While chasing the title, another challenger was making his way up the ranks in TNA. Meet Matt Bentley, then known as Michael Shane. Wrestling for 16 years from 1999 to 2015, most notably wrestling for TNA, where he spent 5 years of his career and won 2 X Division titles. He is also cousins with none other than Shawn Michaels. Yes, that Shawn Michaels. The Michael Shane ring name came from Shawn's appearance on the Pacific Blue series, where his character's name was indeed Michael Shane. After training at the Texas Wrestling Academy with Michaels and Rudy Boy Gonzalez, Shane got some early work in the final years of promotions such as FMW, WCW, and ECW, the last of which he would compete on their very last show. He even got some work on C shows for the then WWF, such as Jack, Saturday Night Heat, or Velocity against wrestlers like Jerry Lynn, Bill DeMott, and Tommy Dreamer. The argument could be made that he only got these bookings in such high-profile promotions due to his familial status with Michaels, and while I might agree there, it takes something to continuously get booked by these promotions in whatever capacity. He made his TNA debut on July 30th, 2003, and would immediately get involved in the X Division title scene. His first match for TNA was against Chris Sabin for the X Division title, with Kazarian as the referee, which Sabin would win in screwy fashion. He would spend the next month or so fighting for #1 contendership, primarily against Kazarian in various different matches, including a ladder match which would end in no contest after Sabin retrieved the contract to prevent either man from winning. Speaking of the devil, I think it's time we meet our X Division champion.
And now, he stepped up. Can he be going for that hesitation drop? Here he comes!
Meet Chris Sabin. Hail Sabin. Sorry, I always wanted to do that. At this point in time, Sabin was about 21 years old and nearly 2 to 3 years into his career. Today, he is one of the most decorated wrestlers in the history of TNA. During his run with the company, he had reigns as tag team champion with Alex Shelley as part of the Motor City Machine Guns, had a brief run as TNA World Heavyweight Champion, and also had a staggering 10 X Division title reigns, becoming immortal and being recognized as one of the most underrated pro wrestlers of this era or possibly any other. Sabin beat Jerry Lynn and the Amazing Red, the reigning champion at the time, in a 3-way match to win his first ever X Division title and only his 3rd match with the company. During his reign, he would successfully defend the title against the likes of Paul London, as well as the aforementioned Shane and Kazarian. As I stated previously, there was a ladder match to determine Sabin's next competitor between Shane and Kaz, which was only interrupted by Sabin, who was also a part of one of the top heel stables in TNA during this period, known as Sports Entertainment Extreme. Sex, do you get it, bro? It was this that led to the decision that the X Division title would be defended by Sabin against Kaz and Shane in a match that would end up becoming one of the most dangerous in all of professional wrestling. Ultimate X. For those unfamiliar with TNA, the premise of Ultimate X isn't all that different to your traditional ladder match. The prize is suspended above the ring and the only way to win is to retrieve it, although there are no ladders involved. The title, or the X depending on if it's a number one contenders match, is strapped between a giant X above the ring, supported by 4 beams on each ring post. The goal is to get your way to the middle of that X and retrieve whatever it is at stake in the middle of the ring. Credit for this match's invention is typically given to Don Callis, as he was the on-screen authority figure at the time. He said so in his promos, and people likely haven't gone through and did their own research, so they took it at face value. But according to former TNA president Scott D'Amore, the idea for Ultimate X was actually the brainchild of wrestler Glenn Gilberti, also known as Disco Inferno. There were tweaks made following its creation, but it was eventually molded into something that helped differentiate TNA from nearly any other company in pro wrestling, and it's funny how this is probably Disco's most important contribution to the industry, and it's actually something productive. Nice little feather in his cap, I bet. The first ever Ultimate X match took place on August 20th, 2003 and emanated from the Tennessee State Fairgrounds in Nashville. I think this is about all the information that we need going in. Let's get around to it. Shane, Kaz, and Sabin all make their way to the ring. A young Jeremy Borash makes the ring announcements as they all enter, and the bell rings. Avoiding both men, Sabin leaves the ring and Kaz and Shane exit on opposite sides. They both go for Sabin, but Sabin ducks and the two men go at it outside. Shane sets Kaz back into the ring. Sabin grabs Shane and throws him into the guardrail. Sabin enters the ring. Kaz delivers some strikes, whips Sabin into the ropes, but Sabin slides through the legs and hits an enziguri. Sabin goes for the title for the first time in this match, but Shane grabs his leg on the apron and gets him down to the canvas. Sabin hits Shane a couple of times, tries to whip, but Shane counters into a fireman's carry neckbreaker facebreaker combo. Shane now tries to claim the title, but Kaz gets to stop. A power struggle ensues that breaks down when Kaz hits Shane with a boot into the swinging neckbreaker. Kaz tries to climb Ultimate X, but Sabin recovers, delivers some shots to Kaz, and tries to whip Kaz into the corner. Kaz reverses, Sabin pops up, but he stuffs himself up into an electric chair. Shane is shimmying across one of those cables when he gets caught onto Sabin, and this is where he plants Sabin face first with an attempt at a Hurricane Rana. Shane gets up and Kaz nails him with a Yakuza kick. Kazarian gets to the top rope with the title in mind, gets within about a foot of it before Sabin gets him down. He doesn't get to do much though, as he gets thrown to the outside by Kaz. Both Kaz and Shane get near the title, try to fight one another off, but Sabin gets to the apron and hits a springboard dropkick, knocking both men off, and now all men are down. Sabin rolls to the outside, grabs a chair from the outside, hits both Kaz and Shane with the chair in the back until Shane eventually gets it out of his hands. Shane wedges the chair in between the middle and top turnbuckle, tries to send Sabin through it, but Sabin counters and Shane goes head first into the chair. Sabin grabs the chair again, goes for Kaz's head, but Kaz recovers in time to nail another Yakuza kick with the chair going right into the face of Sabin. Kaz sets up a chair in the middle of the ring, whips Sabin into the ropes, but Sabin counters, catches Kaz, and delivers a 6 spinning side slam into the chair, destroying it on impact, no pun intended. The camera cuts to Michael Shane, who has a nasty gash on his forehead from that chair shot, wink wink. Sabin goes outside to try and open up that wound a little bit more before going back into the ring to try to retain his title. Shane re-enters the ring with a chair of his own and swings it at the lower back of Sabin, taking him down, and now it's a stalemate. As Sabin falls, the X Division title falls with him. Referee Rudy Charles grabs the fallen belt, and they have to take a second to hang it back up. This doesn't happen though before Sabin gets cracked in the skull with a chair by Kaz. They're showing a bloodied Michael Shane in the meantime, and you could definitely tell who trained him by his mannerisms. As they hang the title, all three men resume the fight outside of the ring. Shane takes a good amount of punishment before the match is eventually restarted. Kaz whips Sabin into the corner, but Sabin counters. Kaz elbows Sabin, who gets Shane in a fireman's carry. Kaz goes for a sunset flip onto Sabin, but Sabin keeps Shane on his shoulders and delivers a dropkick to Kaz and a Samoan drop to Shane. Sabin whips Kaz into the corner, Kaz pops out, Sabin gets him in an Alabama slam position. Shane dropkicks Kaz, who is able to somehow hit Sabin with an early iteration of a Canadian Destroyer. Kaz is now on his feet and climbs to the title. Shane isn't too far behind as he kicks Kaz off the cables. With Shane alone, Sabin makes his way to the cables. Shane tries to fight him off, but gets caught in a powerbomb by Sabin. Sabin now makes his way across. Kaz tries a springboard spear, but he slips. Sabin fights him off a little, but not enough, as Kaz climbs the turnbuckle and hits a diving spear. And it's right here that you see the fucking X Division title fell again. They hang the title, the match restarts, and the hunt continues. Kaz climbs the turnbuckle, Shane climbs the support beam, and they fight each other on opposite sides before Kaz ultimately knocks Shane down. In the meantime, Sabin makes his way to the other side and begins his climb. Kaz quickly makes his his way over, both men fight while the title just sits in between them, and they both fall to the floor. The title did not follow suit this time. Kaz and Sabin slowly make their way back to their feet, make their way back up the structure. Kaz kicks Sabin down and looks to win the title, but not before Michael fucking Shane skates right by Kaz and steals the title. Match over. Bang. Bob's your uncle. Okay, let me relax. To put it simply, this was a very good match. It was structured well. It had the pizzazz of it being a first time ever stipulation that didn't suck like some others do, and it included 3 very young and talented performers killing themselves for our entertainment. Sabin at 21, Shane at 24, and Kaz at 26. This was a showcase of what the future of professional wrestling would look like in hindsight. Everyone stood out and showed out without taking away from anything else. Shane eating as much punishment as he did and still coming out the victor made for a very cool moment in this match. I'm always going to be a bit more partial to this match than most, because this was my first exposure to anything from NWA TNA when I was a kid. When I watched it, it was super grainy and shitty, and from Dailymotion, it looked like something that could be exported from a 3DS. This led 9 or 10-year-old me to seek out any bit of Ultimate X that I could, which introduced me to a lot of wrestlers that I had no clue of otherwise, like Shane, Primetime Elix Skipper, Low Key, Petey Williams, and so on. I knew names because I would always play the TNA Impact video game on my PS2, but I knew jack shit about anything actually going on in TNA. It's the first promotion I watched outside of WWE, and I was just shocked that there was actually wrestling outside of WWE. For all the LOL TNA moments and all the issues I might have with the current product, this company has a very rich history with an embarrassment of riches in terms of talent and quality. For every awful Hogan segment, you had an insane car crash match. For every Sharmell versus Jenna Maraska, you had an unbreakable 2005 three-way. It's the beauty and a curse of being a TNA fan. For every good thing you get, you then proceed to get shit put right into your mouth. I'm diverting further away from the actual point of this video, which is to talk about the match and the wrestlers involved, so I'm going to do that really quick to wrap it up. But like I said, very good match, and I recommend it in its entirety, link in the description. Shane went on to become the then longest reigning X Division champion in TNA history, as well as the first champion to cross the 100-day mark. He'd eventually drop the title back to Sabin. He'd win it back in another Ultimate X match now involving Kazarian, who was now teaming with under the name Shazarian and AJ Styles. Only this time, he and Kazarian would be co-champions after grabbing the titles at the very same time. This only lasted about 2 weeks, however, before they lost it in the gauntlet for the gold match to Petey Williams. Kazarian would devolve after Kazarian would leave TNA to sign a deal with WWE in 2005. Kazarian had 4 matches on Velocity where he defeated Nunzio, Scotty Tuhati, Funaki, and Paul London before requesting his release from WWE about 6 months after signing his deal, which they granted. He cited lack of direction for the Cruiserweight division as the reason, as well as them asking him to cut his hair, which he flat out refused a request made by Vince McMahon. Kaz went back to TNA, did some more work, while Shane, using his real name now following a legal complaint made by WWE as it pertained to them using the Mike Shane name for a member of the Gemini team. They continued their team and joined Raven Serotonin Group until about 2007 when Bentley's contract with TNA expired and it was not renewed. Bentley made 2 more appearances for TNA, one in 2011 as part of a tournament TNA was doing, and another in 2013 as part of their one night only special, but that was about it for him. He wrestled 1 to 2 matches a year following his departure from TNA until he retired in 2015. Kazarian won multiple X Division and tag titles between 2007 and 2014 before leaving TNA to join Ring of Honor, which led to the creation of SoCal Uncensored, or SCU for short, consisting of himself, Christopher Daniels, and Scorpio Sky. This led to a bunch of success as both the World Tag Team and World 6-Man Tag Team champions. They joined AEW in its infancy and became the inaugural Tag Team champions over there as well. The group later dissolved. Kazarian left AEW in 2023 and signed a full-time deal with TNA, then known as Impact Wrestling, after already making regular appearances for them for about a year or so. He's currently main eventing over there right now, so good for him. If you ever find this, Frankie, at Nick's Losing Out on Twitter, big dog. I didn't do shit. As for Sabin, he had great singles success following this, but also found great success as part of the Motor City Machine Guns with Alex Shelley. They've won tag gold in nearly every promotion under the sun, including TNA, Ring of Honor, New Japan, GCW, Deadlock Pro, and most notably WWE. I'm pretty sure that they're the only team to have won the tag titles in WWE, TNA, and Ring of Honor, but I'm also sure someone will correct me in the comments, but I do think I'm right. All 3 men have achieved a ton of pro wrestling success, and they'll forever have this as a point of reference as to where it all started. They made history on August 20th, 2003, and it's still felt to this very day. But yeah, that was the first Ultimate X match ever. What did you think? Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you thought about this video, as I look for all feedback, positive or negative. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already, so you do not miss out on any future videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Peace out.